Guys, I have fantastic news. All of the most insufferable people on the internet are furious right now, which means it is a good day to be me. So, breaking news, Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship is now in effect. After SCOTUS decision, he is actually cooking. All of the things that he tried to pass in Congress have been effectively passed. All of the Obunga appointed judges that have been stopping him from doing anything, those guys are cooked. Their powers have been vastly limited by Congress. Also, all of the birthright citizenship shit is actually over. Now, I'll be real. Can I tell you my opinion on birthright citizenship? It's an exploit, okay? It's an exploit. It's a bug, not a feature, all right? It is absolutely a bug, not a feature. It's a loophole that people will jump into the country, give birth in the country, oopsie poopsie, the baby's an American now, you have to feed him. And in my opinion, that's an exploit. And I don't think there's other countries that are really doing that shit. So realistically, that shit got patched. And it's a good thing too. It really is a good thing too. So anyway, that is life. Now, Trump actually pushed a lot of very controversial things into the Senate, and they all won. He literally won on all of them, which is a fantastic thing. If you, like me, actually has a brain that functions. If you are a terrorist, this might be very bad for you. Now, I'll tell you why this is a really good thing. I'll tell you why this is a fucking awesome thing. No, Democrats need their own Trump. Trump made a major misstep. No, birthright citizenship is over 3-hour-long cope video. No, this is so messed up. People can no longer exploit the system to take over the country from the outside. All the terrorists are literally fuming right now. It is a terrible day for terrorists. And also, it's the 1-year anniversary of this clip, so I figured once we're making fun of retards, here's another retard to throw into the mix.
You know, all of these Trump supporters are going to be incredibly disappointed tomorrow night when Donald Trump and Joe Biden debate because they view Donald Trump as a god and they think that Joe Biden is sleepy. But that's not reality. What is reality is that Donald Trump has not been doing any debate prep. He's not preparing at all, whereas Joe Biden has been doing debate prep for the past 7 days. And he's been having mock debates every single day and reviewing policy and all that stuff.
That's
so what's actually going to happen is that Joe Biden's going to get up on that debate stage and slap Donald Trump around for 90 minutes, and then all of these Trump supporters are going to be incredibly sad over his performance. They'll never admit this, but they know it's true.
I just had to show this. It's 1 year anniversary of this fucking bitch thinking that Joe Biden was gonna wipe the floor with Trump in a debate. Oh god, this aged so well. So realistically, it's in honor of the 1-year anniversary. I felt the need to actually show this to you. Yeah, so all the worst people are losing their mind, which means good shit is happening. So Trump and Pam Bondi literally did a surprise press conference. Do you know why? To celebrate winning everything. And people are losing their minds. Lock in, boys and girls. This is going to be fun.
Okay, we want to take you back to the White House right now. President Donald Trump was on the podium just a few moments ago speaking about a huge court ruling from the Supreme Court. Right now, we're seeing Attorney General Pam Bondi speaking, so let's listen in.
No longer.
Wait, is this not the actual Trump? Wait. I wanted to see his actual speech. Trump speech. I wanted to see him speaking. Yeah. Where's Trump? All right, I found it.
Well, this was a big one, wasn't it? This was a big decision.
That was a big one.
An amazing decision, one that we're very happy about. This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law in striking down the excessive use of nationwide injunctions to interfere with the normal functioning of the executive branch. The Supreme Court has stopped the presidency itself. That's what they've done. And really, it's been an amazing period of time.
Breaking news, Democrat-appointed judge is commanding Trump to rebuild Iran's nuclear facilities.
Last hour, there are people elated all over the country. I've seen such happiness and spirit. Sometimes you don't see that, but this case is very important. I was elected on a historic mandate, but in recent months, we've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president to stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers. It was a grave threat to democracy, frankly, and instead of merely ruling on the immediate cases before them, these judges have attempted to dictate the law for the entire nation.
Yes, sir.
In practice, this meant that
in my opinion, it's a borderline coup of the government. It is a borderline coup of the government. Donald Trump was elected to do things. He's trying to do things. Every single thing he tried to do, different random judge from nowhere that was randomly appointed by Obunga, he would pop up and be like, yeah, Mr. President, you don't have the authority to pick your nose. Mr. President, we're going to need to bring you to court over this.
Any one of the nearly 700 federal judges disagreed with the policy of a duly elected president of the United States, he or she could block that policy from going into effect or at least delay it for many years, tie it up in the court system. This was a colossal abuse of power which never occurred in American history prior to recent decades, and we've been hit with more nationwide injunctions than were issued in
I love that he's like in fuck off mode. It's so fun because last time he was trying his best to like do things right, like by the book, and this time all the Obunga appointed judges keep trying to stop him. He's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. We're changing the law. We're not just dealing with this one at a time. No, we're removing your power. Incredibly based. Judges should not have the ability to do that.
The entire 20th century together. Think of it, more than the entire 20th century. Me. I'm grateful to the Supreme Court for stepping in and solving this very, very big and complex problem, and they've made it very simple. I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly, as well as Chief Justice Roberts, and Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas.
Goddamn.
Great people. Thanks for this, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore.
Again, I think this is an exploit. It always has been an exploit. It's never been intended to be abused this way. Literally, I think that it's good that this shit is finally dying. It was always an exploit. Dude, you'd have people breaking into the country illegally, giving birth, poop, out pops a baby. Now it's an American. Now you have to feed him. You're gonna split up a family by deporting a mother but not a baby. This is literally the fucking plan, okay? That's why so many cartels have been shoving 8-month pregnant women over the border to literally just plop out cartel-owned Americans. It's literally been the plan for so long. Honestly, it is so nice to live in a society that's like, you know what? That shit makes no sense. We're cutting that bullshit.
That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go.
But it was abused, right? Like, realize, after the Civil War, how do you know that if a slave, a former slave, would have a baby, the baby would be considered an American? So as like a big, show of good faith, I guess, they said that, yo, all of your children will be American citizens and be treated like American citizens. A wonderful thing. However, it was abused. Absolutely. It's been abused. Cartels have been doing it. China's been abusing it. China. I love China very much. And realistically, this is not what it was made for. And I'm happy that it's being fucked over.
There and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and
oh, God, thank you. Oh, my Lord.
Numerous other priorities.
Now I know why everyone's losing their shit. He's literally cutting all this bullshit. Oh, my God.
The American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she can talk as long as she wants, because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank, again, the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. And with that, I'd like you to listen to the words of Pam Bondi. She's an incredible Attorney General. We're very proud of her.
All right.
And as you know, Todd Blanche is with us, and we have so many others that worked on this case and other cases. And I think they're doing a great job. Pam, please say a few words.
All right.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for fighting for all Americans. Americans are finally getting what they voted for.
True.
No longer will we have rogue judges striking down President Trump's policies across the entire nation. No longer.
All right.
Today,
All right.
in the 6-3 opinion, Justice Barrett correctly
Yowzers, schmauzers, 6-3.
holds that the district court lacks authority to enter nationwide or universal injunctions. These lawless injunctions gave relief to everyone in the world instead of the parties before the court. As the Supreme Court held today, they turned district courts into the imperial judiciary.
True.
Active liberal justices.
It was bullshit.
Judges have used these injunctions to block virtually all of President Trump's policies. To put this in perspective.
Like, can you imagine, you know, people vote you in to become the president of the United States. You win all 7 swing states, all 7 of them. You come into power, all right? You're going to be like, all right, now, the things that you voted for in this lovely democracy that we're living in, I'm going to actually do them. And all the judges are like, whoa! Mr. President, Mr. President.
There are 94 federal judicial districts. 5 of those districts throughout this country held 35 of the nationwide injunctions.
Bro, that's a crazy statistic. 13% of the judges made 50% of the injunctions? Oh my lord.
Think about that. 94 districts and 35 out of the 40 opinions with nationwide injunctions came from 5 liberal districts in this country.
Yo, can we kick those guys off, please? Can we just make them removed? Can we just destroy them? Can we just destroy these people, please? Destroy them. Remove them. They're obviously abusing their power, man.
No longer. No longer. These injunctions have blocked our policies from tariffs to military readiness to immigration to foreign affairs, fraud, abuse, and many other issues.
For foreign affairs? What the hell do they have to do with foreign affairs?
The judges have tried to seize the executive branch's power, and they cannot do that.
Based.
No longer.
Insanely
no
based.
longer.
Finally.
And on immigration, on a side note, today marks 2,711 arrests on these terrorists and these gangs. Total arrest today with SI investigations. And thank you, Stephen Miller. Thank you to Homeland Security. Thank you to everyone working hand in hand with the FBI.
Let's go, dude. Huge W. Only about 20 million to go.
On all of these transnational gangs. TDA has been a huge terror to our country, as well as MS-13, as well as Sinaloa cartels. No longer. No longer.
All right, so when are we bombing the cartels? All right, I just want to know. I have the big questions. When are we bombing the cartels, guys? That's what I want to know.
These injunctions have allowed district court judges to be emperors. They vetoed all of President Trump's power, and they cannot do that. This has been a bipartisan problem that has lasted 5 presidential terms.
Damn.
5 different presidents. And it's
also such a bullshit concept in general. Okay, so you have a judge that's there supposed to judge like random grifters. Like, think about it. You have a judge in Milwaukee, okay, doing fucking nothing. All right, someone comes in that he just, you know, committed the heinous crime of shoplifting, and the judge is supposed to, you know, figure out what to do with him. And this random judge is allowed to say, listen, I know we voted for the president, but he's not allowed to deport anybody. It's like, dog, what are we talking about?
Has ended today. We will continue to fight for President Trump's policies. I want to thank the Office of White House Counsel, Dave Warrington. You and your staff have been incredible. Our Solicitor General's office, John Sowers, Sarah Harris, and Todd Blanche and Emil Bovey. Todd's going to say a few words because we've had another major ruling today on transgender books and some other great wins that we've had. But no longer will they have this power in our country. It is the president's authority under his executive branch to do everything to fight for the American people, and he will continue to do that. That's why he was overwhelmingly elected.
All 7 swing states.
Thank you.
All 7 of them. That's 7.
Thank you.
States.
Today's a great day for the rule of law. It's a great day for the Justice
Great day for America.
Department, and it's one that's been a long time
5% of the precincts responsible for 77% of the injunctions. Damn.
Coming, and one that every American should.
But guys, I know what we're all thinking. What if Hasan loses his citizenship? Oh, that would be horrible. Am I right, guys?
have been waiting for with bated breath. And so I echo what the president said and Attorney General Bondi, that the Supreme Court did a great thing today, not only for this administration, but for every American in this country. If not for the injunctions case, we would be here talking about another great decision that came down today, the trans books case, which restores parents' rights to decide their child's education.
It is unbelievable that this needed to get to the Supreme Court, that parents should have the right to decide their children's education. It is absolutely unreal to see how far we've fallen, that this is like a W.
Seems like a basic idea, but it took the Supreme Court to set the record straight, and we thank them for that. And now that ruling allows parents to opt out of dangerous trans ideology and make the decisions for their children that they believe is correct. And so we thank the Supreme Court for that. There's been multiple decisions over the past several weeks that just show why this nationwide injunction ban had to happen. For example, what I mean by that is local district court judges issuing decisions that are clearly contrary to law just because they don't like the policy of President Trump. And when it gets to the Supreme Court has to correct it. But that takes time. The Attorney General thanked our lawyers, and I'll do it again. Our lawyers are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to fight these injunctions and emergency appeals, emergency stays, going back to the judge, asking them to change.
It's such a waste of money and time and manpower. Like, think of the amount of bullshit that needs to happen just to get anything done.
Their view.
They're trying their best to waste as much time as possible until the next election. That's literally what I think is the reality. Like, that's why you have all these protests. That's why people are burning cities down, trying to blame Trump for everything, right? You have people in Los Angeles burning cars and saying it's Trump's fault, and the governor says it's Trump's fault. And you have everyone and their mother blaming Trump for things that are realistically not Trump's fault. They're trying to block him at every turn. They're trying to run out the clock. That's what I really think they're trying to do. They're trying to make as much chaos as possible and run out the clock so that they can vote in another Democrat establishment guys. And it's absolutely insane. And they're doing every dirty trick they can. You know, they'll weaponize empathy. Oh my God! Can you believe it, guys? Can you believe it? They're deporting people. These people are so homeless and sad. Breaking up families.
And their hard work is really paying off today, but over the past few weeks. We had a stay of an order that prevented DHS from moving aliens to a third country. We had a stay of an order that stopped the Department of Defense from implementing military readiness, the EO that President Trump signed. We had another...
Wait, what? A Supreme Court... Wait. A district court judge stopped Trump's order of getting the military ready? Dog. What are they doing?
They have an order forcing reinstatement of fired executive branch employees.
What? Wait, the judges are demanding to rehire fired employees? How on earth did they even think they had power for that?
Entirely within the president in Article 2, his right.
Dog, you can fire whoever the hell you want. If they're your employee, you can fire them. And then some judge says, whoa, you gotta rehire that motherfucker.
Right to do. We had a stay of, as you all know, of numerous Doge cases. And again, every one of those stays requires a tremendous amount of work and effort by the lawyers and parties involved. And they should be doing other work. They should be doing the work that the president and this administration, these local judges who don't make decisions based on the law. They make decisions because they just simply don't agree with the administration's decision about...
I mean, he's being very nice. I don't even think they disagree with this decision. I just think they're playing politics.
A policy, and that's wrong.
I think it's so much more vindictive than that. That is horrible, but I think it's even worse. The Supreme Court has passed a new law. Every judge needs to prove that they haven't inserted dildos into any of their orifices for 99 days before making a decision.
Yes, for Pam, please.
Go ahead. Thank you, Madam Attorney General. So, as you know, the Supreme Court did not rule on the underlying constitutionality of the President's birthright citizenship order. So, what is the plan now? Are you going to try to implement the EO just in states where there isn't a legal challenge?
Yes, so birthright citizenship will be decided in October in the next session by the Supreme Court, unless it comes down in the next few minutes. I guess it could come down. They're still, I think they're still deliberating right now on some cases. As you heard, we just got transgender books, which is a huge win.
It's, again, shocking that that's considered a win, but yeah.
But most likely that will be decided in October in the next session. However, it indirectly impacts us because, as you correctly pointed out, if there's a birthright citizenship case in Oregon, it will only affect the plaintiff in Oregon, not the entire country.
All right.
So yes,
Makes
it's
sense.
indirectly, but that's pending litigation, and we're waiting on that.
All right. Well,
And how concerned are you that the Supreme Court will come back and determine that the executive order is unconstitutional?
We're very confident in the Supreme Court, but again, it's pending litigation, and that will directly be determined in October, but it indirectly impacts every case in this country, and we're thrilled with their decision today. Peter.
Madam Attorney General, thank you for being here to take our questions. A couple questions to the both of you. The EO had a 30-day grace period before it goes into effect. Is there any thought about trying to make it effective immediately within that period of time?
We're going to follow the law. We're going to make those decisions, and we're going to do what's right in the bounds of the law.
And then the DOJ didn't ask the justices to rule on the merits of the birthright citizenship ban. Just for explanation purposes, why?
Sure, because that's going to come down in October.
Bro, did it say that?
This was huge because it's indirectly impacted today. As I said, it's case by case. Let me reiterate, of the 35 of the 40 nationwide injunctions filed against this president, against his executive authority as president of the United States, 35 of them came from Maryland, D.C., Massachusetts, California, Washington.
Oh my God, it's obviously such a clown world. Like, dude, this is a clown system. The court system's a whole circus, bro.
That's crazy. These 5 districts. So yeah,
I really would like to see the media be like, yep, you're right, that's crazy, but no.
it indirectly impacts us. It will be a separate decision in October. Next question.
Mr. President.
Wow, she's not dealing with that bullshit. No more of these doubling down garbage lawyers. She answers the question. That's it. Next person. I don't want to hear you dilly-dally and garble shit.
A question for you, sir. Do you believe this ends the power of the lower court judges to stop your agenda? Do you see this as a full green light for your agenda going forward?
Well, you'd have to really speak to the lawyers about that. But this is really also a decision based on common sense. It didn't work the other way. It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a liberal judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years because their decision was something.
He's right though. This shit just wastes time. It ties your hands for no reason, right? Literally, dude, the majority of the country voted for this guy to come into power to deport illegal immigrants. He comes in, he tries to deport illegal immigrants, and a couple of retards in random blue states decided, whoa, Mr. President, you cannot do this thing that is perfectly fine within the law because I said so, and because you're ugly. Got him.
Times take years to overturn. We've overturned many of the decisions, but it would take years to do it. And we have to act quickly when it comes to illegal immigration. We have murderers, killers, we have
rapists,
drug dealers, we have what they've allowed to come into our country. It should never be forgotten. It should never be forgotten what they've done to our country. And we have to be able to act very quickly, and we're going to do that. Thank you.
He's right.
Justice Amy Coney Barrett, sir, I know that you praised her and her opinion here in this case. She has taken some heat, though, from some of your supporters who have labeled her weak, squishy, a rattle.
Bro, these people, they just want to make Trump enemies every single time. They're just trying to drive wedges between Trump and his people.
Law professor, what is your take on that?
I don't know about that. I just have great respect for her. I always have. And her decision was brilliantly written today, from all accounts. Yeah.
Transgender President, what would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House?
This is literally the law. It makes sense. Everything is just trying to turn Trump into a dictator. It's like, oh my God, Trump, did you just do a fascism?
Well, this way brings back the Constitution.
Yeah, this kind of is following the law the way the country was supposed to have laws. You know, before some madmen actually, you know, literally ran this normalcy out of the house.
This is what it's all about, and this is really the opposite.
You think it's a bit of a concentration of power that there's a president of the United States? That's basically what he asked. All right, to rephrase the question, Mr. President, I really think it's a concentration of power to have a person elected as the president of the entire country. Well, yeah, no shit. That's how elections, yes, absolutely, you're right.
Of that.
Tough noogies.
The question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
I love how he walked away from the mic and he's still taking questions.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Illegal crossings in the border are 0 now.
Yeah. 0. Does everyone hear that?
2048. Do you intend, President Trump?
Who's that? I like him.
It's so easy. It's so easy. Just compliment Mr. President a little bit, and he becomes a puppy. It's crazy.
He's working the cameras.
With this new reality, President Trump in the border, do you intend to engage personally with leaders from South America, not only Central America?
Sure, I do that anyway.
I do that anyway. And if you have a perspective of meeting some presidents from South America.
Well, you see, as an example, not South America, but NATO over the weekend.
Yeah.
They have great respect for our country now. They did things that nobody thought was possible.
Yeah, he bullied the shit out of them. Absolute legend. He got them to a... now they're all giving 5% to their defense. Like, they used to only give 1%. Now they're giving 5%, except for Spain. Spain is kind of being bullshit. But yeah, I made a video on that. He absolutely cooked.
They took funding from 2% to 5%. Nobody thought they'd ever pay the 2%.
No, I did it.
More a year.
Because I'm a strong man.
$1 trillion.
Not a wet pussy like Biden.
Nobody thought that could happen. That's different people, different countries.
And a pussy.
Yeah, but we get along with a lot of countries.
And they respect me.
We are respected
Am I
again.
throbbing
Our country,
orange meat?
the U.S., is respected again.
Yes, sir.
Was not respected 6 months ago. I can tell.
I wonder why. Who is the president then?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, you have a deadline coming up on trade in 2 weeks. Which countries, if any, on trade, on tariffs, sir, which countries, if any, are close to agreements with the administration?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've made a deal with...
He realized that there are no questions for anyone else. All the questions are coming his way. He just goes back to the mic.
China, we've made a deal with probably 4 or 5 different countries. With the UK, it was a great deal for both. And we're in the process of making some others. But ultimately, in fact, Scott is here. And Howard, these 2 guys have been doing an incredible job. And the people that work with them have been doing an incredible job. But, you know, we have 200 countries. You could say 200 countries plus. We can't do that. So at a certain point over the next week and a half or so, or maybe before, we're going to send out a letter. We talked to many of the countries, and we're just going to tell them what they have to pay to do business in the United States. And it's going to go very quickly.
Every country will raise payments to NATO and be forced to call me daddy under the rule of law.
But some of the bigger countries, so India, I think we're going to reach a deal where we have the right to go in and trade. Right now it's restricted. You can't walk in there. You can't even think about it. We're looking to get a full trade barrier dropping, which is unthinkable. Sir. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen. At this moment, we've agreed to that, go into Indian trade. We're going to be trading in China. That's going to come a little bit down the road, but we're going to be trading in China. We have a lot of great things going, and we get with
more goats for all of their rice.
But some will be disappointed because they're going to have to pay tariffs. And we've taken in already hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. No inflation. And we have a Fed guy that doesn't understand what's happening, and it would be great if he'd lower the rate because we'd be able to borrow a lot cheaper. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can you shut up, you freaking asshole?
Why don't we keep it on this subject? This is such a big subject. You know what? Trade is so big, but this, I don't know, in a certain way, this might be bigger than trade.
Yeah, why are they asking about trade? He's literally doing a special press conference to talk about the new Supreme Court rulings, and these people are just coming up with, but I have a question. How many goats did Iran throw at your B-2 bombers when you tried to destroy their nuclear reactors, and did the goats reach? Guys, can we chill, please?
I think this is bigger than trade. Yes, please, go ahead.
I was wondering, though, if you could...
Go ahead.
Sir, on the transgender ruling, the Supreme Court ruling that parents with religious objections can pull their kids out of public school lessons that use LGBTQ materials. Pam brought it up. Your reaction to that ruling today, sir?
I think...
What do you mean, your reaction? He pushed it. What's your reaction to literally winning in court? Good?
It's a great ruling, and I think it's a great ruling for parents. It's really a ruling for parents.
It's a better ruling for the kids, to be honest. I think it's a good ruling for literally everybody. It's a shock that it's even controversial to say that you should be allowed to send your kids to schools, that the schools don't follow some sort of strict LGBT agenda or whatever. That is mind-blowing.
Parents, they lost control of the schools. They lost control of their child. And this is a tremendous victory for parents. And I'm not surprised by it, but I am surprised that it went this far.
I am also surprised. I'm not surprised that he got this passed. I am surprised that it literally was this. I'm surprised that it got this far. It's shocking to me. Shocking that you're a parent that wants to send your kid to school and you want it to be like a basic religious school with, basic religious values, I don't know, Christian ethics or something like that, and that would not get funding from the government because they don't have like the LGBT agenda or whatever. Like, that's retarded. That's insane. That's absolutely abominable.
It took us to bring life back to normal, so it's wonderful. It's parental, and I kept saying, we will give you back your parental rights. They were taken away, and this is a tremendous victory for parents.
I I wonder. Let me ask you. I'm just asking questions, okay? I'm not actually making any statements. I'm just asking questions. All right. So if feminism was about getting women in the workforce, and now families need a 2-family income to, support their family. So now mothers aren't home to raise their children. So now children need to be given to someone to teach them. But those children now go to a school, and the school needs to get federal funding. It needs to have the LGBT, messaging. And now that it's getting the LGBT messaging, it is basically helping the government brainwash my children into whatever propaganda they decide to put. So do you think that perhaps maybe the large push to a lot of these agendas is simply so that the government can control your children's minds? Just asking questions. I don't know the answer myself. I'm just asking questions. Am I getting too based? Am I too based? Tell me if I'm too based, and I will scale back the basedness. You let me know.
Mr. President, if you look at back at the last week, it's been extraordinary in terms of the action in the Middle East. You were at The Hague.
I'm wondering now, hell of a week, hasn't it?
I'm wondering now if you believe that. I'm wondering now, sir, if you believe that Iran has given up its long history of ambitions with.
No way, bro.
Nuclear weapons, or what you would like to see from them to prove that they do, and what type of meetings is your administration looking for next week with Iran?
So Iran wants to meet. As you know, their sites were obliterated. They're very evil nuclear sites. Has been proven. We had some fake news for a little while.
Nuclear.
The same people that covered the Hunter Biden laptop was from Russia. The same people that did 3 or 4 other Russia hoax.
But on their
No, wait, just listen. They came.
You asked the question. Now you listen to Daddy.
Up with something that delayed the credit that our great pilots and these great what talent that was, and they hit it right down in the spot. 52,000 feet. Think of this dark, no moon, you couldn't see a thing, and they hit the refrigerator door, as they say. That's the size of a target, and overwhelmingly.
They hit the target with 14 36,000-pound bombs, each one detonated exactly in the right place, and fake news went out and said, we don't know if it was successful. Well, they're retarded.
And it's amazing what was done. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we took out the 2 of the other sites also. In addition to that, we finished them all. That was very evil intention. I believe that, and again, time will tell, but I don't believe that they're going to go back into nuclear anytime soon.
Well, not anytime soon. You fucked their country. Their country is giga-fucked.
Spent over $1 trillion on nuclear, and they never got it together. And nothing was moved from the site, by the way. To do that is very dangerous. It's very, very heavy material. Those cars were most likely the cars of masons because they were pouring concrete at the top, at the hatch, as you know, the hatch going into the nuclear site. They wanted to reinforce it, and they had some.
Their last day was spent reinforcing the site that was totally obliterated. That's crazy.
Masons there pouring concrete. By the way, that concrete was obliterated exactly at the concrete. It was, I don't think it had a chance to dry, but everything's down there. It's under millions of tons of rock.
Millions of tons of rock. I don't think that's accurate. All right.
Yes.
Your administration has said that El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the hemisphere. So why haven't you yet temporary protective status for that country? Was it part of the deal?
Well, we'll take a look. We've had a great relationship with El Salvador. They have a fantastic leader. They built a massive prison system, and I don't know exactly why, but it's a hell of a system. And we bring people there, and when they go there, they don't get out. And frankly, when they hear they have to go there, they become very nice people.
Everyone's an asshole until your trip to El Salvador.
They become very nice people. Yeah, it's a tough system, but it's a brilliant system. And
there's something really, really nice about actually punishing people when they break the law. There's something really nice about actually enforcing the law. Because it kind of makes other people not want to break it if you realize that it gets enforced. Kind of weird. Bro, God, when are we bringing this shit back to America? Come on, dude. Come on. ASAP. You have terrorists running around in the streets of LA right now, man. What are we doing?
It's a system done by a very, very good leader. We'll talk about El Salvador. A lot of respect.
We're opening Alligator Alcatraz.
Thank you.
Every guard will be equipped with a robot alligator slave.
A question for you, and then a question for the Attorney General. As you go into negotiations and talks with Iran, are you demanding not only that there would be no uranium production inside of Iran, but also that Iran would turn over all existing stockpiles of uranium?
Well, we're a little early for that, but something like that, yeah, we'll do something like that. Let me say that I've been saying for 25 years.
You do not have a nuclear
weapon. You cannot
weapon.
let them have a nuclear weapon. And that's what happened. It's been obliterated. It would be years before they could ever get going. And I really think it's probably the last thing. They have to recover from a hell of a tough war.
Would you also be demanding that the IAEA have full rights to inspect in Iran?
Or somebody, yeah. Or somebody that we respect,
and then
including ourselves.
And a question for both the President and the Attorney General. Under birthright citizenship, if this is implemented, who would be tasked with actually vetting citizenship? And how, like, would this be a situation where you have nurses and doctors checking for citizenship of parents?
No.
This is all pending litigation.
Bro, we're not there yet. The law didn't pass until October. Oh my God. What do you think is gonna happen? You think the baby's gonna pop out and then the doctor is gonna like do the Family Guy meme where they pay? Wait, you know what I'm talking about? The Family Guy meme. Let me see if I can find this meme. Bro, this shit. You know what I'm talking about? Be like, they're gonna do this. Be like, citizen, not a citizen. Bro, what do you think they're not doing? The doctor comes, baby pops out, and it's like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's going to be decided in October by the Supreme Court, and we'll discuss that after the litigation.
If you have an undocumented baby, would that baby...
We just get a shout out to the Democrats out there fighting for the rights of fetuses. They used to want to kill them, and now they want them to be citizens. So shout out to the Democrats for being so cool about this.
Then be an enforcement priority.
The violent criminals in our country are the priority now. Let me put it in perspective.
All right.
Today marked the 2,711th arrest in our country of TDA members. Just TDA. Everyone.
Wait, they arrested 2,711 members of the Tren de Aragua gang? Just that one gang? They arrested almost 3,000 members of a single gang that was in the country illegally? Biden, what were you doing? Biden. 4 years? What the fuck is wrong with you, Biden? What the shit is happening? Are you crazy? Oh my lord. Oh god. Oh my god. Butchers living in our home. What the fuck is happening?
Everyone in this room agrees they are one of the most violent criminal organizations in the world. And the Biden administration let them walk into our country for the last 4 years. 2,711 of them today have been arrested.
And these are like rapists, murderers, gang members, human traffickers, drug dealers. Like, these are deplorable humans. It is shocking that it got this bad.
Arrested in our country. That is the priority of Donald Trump. That is the priority of this country, of Homeland Security, of all of our lawyers, of FBI. That's the priority. That will be discussed in October when the Supreme Court hopefully rules in our favor, and we're very confident of that.
They will be putting tracking chips in all of their wieners.
You should all feel safer now that President Trump can deport all of these gangs, and not one district court judge can think they're an emperor over this administration and his executive powers, and why the people of the United States elected.
Someone in my chat just said they're also arresting a shit ton of people that aren't violent criminals. Are they illegally in the country? Yes, they should get out. I'm sorry. Stop with the gaslighting. 2,711 Tren de Aragua members, huge W. Get them the fuck out. Put them in prison. All right, honestly. And if they're not legally in the country, let them leave the country. The country has borders, bro. There's a reason why there's borders to a country.
I just might add one thing, and they used birthright citizenship, some of the worst people, some of the cartels, to get people into our country.
I told you that, man. Absolutely.
Just so you know. And again, I say, if you look at the end of the Civil War, the 1800s, it was a very turbulent time. If you take the end day, was it 1869 or whatever? But you take that exact...
I don't remember the year, but 69 is my favorite number.
Day, that's when the case was filed, and the case ended shortly thereafter. This had to do with the babies of slaves, very, very obviously, and I think we're going to win. People I don't think they went about discussing it right. I came along and we looked and we said, wait a minute, this is wrong. We've been looking at birthright citizenship wrong for years.
True.
But they've used it. The cartels have used birthright citizenship to get very bad people in. And what Pam's doing and what Todd and everybody else, what they're doing at DOJ and all over, FBI, ICE, Border Patrol, these are incredible people. They're trying to keep our country safe, and they don't want to have people come in. This is just another way that they get illegal immigrants into our country, and in some cases, very, very bad ones. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your tax bill, if I could for a moment, senators are racing to rewrite parts of it right now after the Senate parliamentarian ruled.
Dog, these fucking Democrats are panicking like never before. They lost everything. in court. Oh my lord.
Sections of it were outside of the process that they're using to get this through. Do you think that senators should respect the decisions of the parliamentarian? And what have you personally done in the last 48 hours to try and get Republican senators who are against the bill to a yes?
Well, look, it's a great bill. It's a massive tax cut. If it's not approved, your taxes will go up by 68%.
Oh my God! Who wants to be on the other side of this? Dude, you gotta realize Trump is kind of a genius. Kind of a genius, bro. When it comes to pushing these deals. Like, he'll squeak in these fucking insane, insane tax cuts and deals with like, I don't know, birthright citizenship or some shit. And he'll be like, well, are you gonna go against this deal about birthright citizenship? You know, it also increases taxes. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Look at that, 68, a record, the highest.
Bro, why can't we actually make different laws in like different bills? Why does everything need to be one giant bill?
In the history, the Democrats won't approve it only because politically it's so good for the Republicans. The Democrats aren't approving it. But think of what they're not approving. They're not approving border security. We've done a great job at the border, but we have to add some wall. We have to do various things. We have no money for that. We have no money for the border. We have no money for so many things. But if the Democrats, it'd be interesting to see if we get any Democrat votes. We should. If I were a Democrat, I would absolutely, maybe Fetterman, because he seems to be the most sensible one lately. If I were a Democrat, I would vote for this bill all day long because...
Yeah, Fetterman's been cooking. Not even gonna lie. Fetterman has been cooking. He's probably my favorite Democratic senator right now. Probably my favorite Democrat senator. He's been cooking.
It's tax cuts and so many other things that are common sense. They're basic things. I think they're doing fine. The parliamentarian's been a little difficult, and I would say that I disagree with the parliamentarian on some things, and on other ways he's been fine. But we'll have to see. It's a big issue. I will tell you this, if that bill doesn't pass, the country will get a 68% tax increase. So think of this, you're a Democrat and you vote against it. That means you're voting in favor because essentially you're voting in favor of the largest tax hike in the history of our country. And you can't do that. In addition, we're cutting costs by $1.7 trillion.
But don't worry, because none of the actual population are actually going to even know this because no one actually pays attention. Your average Democratic voter is a white woman on TikTok at this point. So I don't think they're exactly going to know exactly what's going on.
And it won't affect anybody. It's just fraud, waste, and abuse.
Mr. President, a leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it.
Oh.
He loves getting the glazed questions. They start glazing him and oh my God.
What is your message?
This guy.
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked.
It's the best question of all time. You outsmarted everyone? Yes, that does sound like me, actually.
I've been going through abuse for years on this because, as you know, we're taking...
By the way, to every single one of these motherfuckers that said that he was going to destroy the entire economy with their tariffs, they all gotta literally eat their own assholes, man.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
For the record, I was wrong with the tariffs. When he started saying tariffs, I was like, I don't get it. I don't think it makes sense. I know it's going to be good in the long run. In the short run, we're going to get cooked. I was wrong. He was right. He was right. He was absolutely right because it was all about the bargaining chip anyway. He cooked.
No inflation whatsoever.
But, Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
My message to critics, you're all retarded. I'm the best president that ever happened. I'm the best president for black people since Abraham Lincoln, maybe better even.
I think they should go back to business school. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars from China and a lot of other countries. We took in, I had a call from somebody in the House and a high official. Sir, we have a problem. We don't know what to do. The books are a mess. I said, what do you mean by the books? The books, the money coming in. It's so terrible. I figured, oh boy, what's this? I don't like this question. I said, so what seems, there's so much money coming in and there must be some kind of an accounting mistake because we have hundreds of billions of dollars more money than we thought. I said,
oh, may God continue to bless you with these problems. Yep, absolutely.
Do me a favor, go check call me back. You have to call me back. Check the tariff column. Calls me back 2 hours later, says, You're right. We took in $88 billion in tariffs.
Damn!
They have so much money coming in. But more important than the money coming in, we have companies coming in, factories coming in, auto plants being built. AI is being built here instead of being built all over Europe and Asia. We have all of it. We have over $15 trillion, just about, Scott. I think we're right about that number. We went to Saudi Arabia. We went to Qatar. We went to UAE. Very smart people, very smart leaders, great leaders. And we took in $5.1 trillion.
They like,
with
by
the tariffs.
way.
I mean, they also
So
liked a
smart.
thing called
They think I'm a visionary.
November 5th, November 6th, and November 7th. That was a very good little period of time. It's called the presidential election. You know, you used to have one-day election. Now you have it go over it. But even if you just took that little period, because it was pretty obvious it was going to be a landslide. And they like that, but they love the tariffs. I had Texas Instruments come in the other day, big company, and he said, we're putting in $60 billion into new plants and new equipment, new everything. Sir, you're going to keep the tariffs, aren't you? Because if I ever took the tariffs off, and we are going to absolutely keep it. And they're worried that somebody that like this communist from New York someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a
No way! He's calling out that guy! Oh my lord!
terrible thing for our country.
Yeah, that guy's a nightmare, by the way. Dude, I'm not even shitting you. There was a tweet that I saw of his, like an old tweet. There was a British guard that was stabbed by, I think, an illegal immigrant in England. And he was stabbed and almost killed. And he defended it because he said since he was a guard, he's part of the military. And because he's part of the military, he's a combatant in the Middle East wars. And therefore, he's a legitimate target to this terrorist in England. Okay? Like, I am telling you, like, that is the level of fucked that we're dealing with. Every year, on 9/11, he makes the same tweet saying, I'm so sad about all the people that died on 9/11 and all the wars that happened because of 9/11. All right? I am telling you, he makes that same tweet every year. That guy is a nightmare. Of course, Hasan Piker likes him because, you know, he also likes terrorists.
By the way, he's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so...
Trump, for the love of God, bring back the Communist Protection Act. Arrest the communists. Communist propaganda is not protected by freedom of speech in America. You might be not aware of this, but this is a true fact. The Communist Protection Act is still in effect. It's not too late, Donald. You can do something very funny. You can do something really funny here right now. Or I'm just saying. McCarthy was cooking. All right, I don't know, man. This is crazy. I don't know. I'm not saying that I support arresting people just if they have, like, interesting, you know. I'm not saying that we should arrest literally anybody based on their, you know, ideology when it comes to monetary situations. But I don't care. I don't like them. It would be really funny. It would be really funny. Mostly it's the terrorist propaganda that I don't like.
Bad for New York, but the rest of the country is revolting against it. But if somebody got elected, they're afraid that if this was taken off, well, we're going to guarantee it's never going to be taken off. And again, we're taking in think of this, hundreds of billions of dollars.
God damn.
And they were all confused because they've never seen this before. You know, it's always the other way. We don't have enough money. So much money is coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen.
No one's ever
But
seen
most
so
importantly,
much
we have
money.
Factories being built, car plants being built, companies moving to our country like never before. If you look at 15 trillion, and that's only in a few months. You know, I haven't been here that long. The presidents, like the last one, was a disaster. He's the worst president in the history of our country, by the way. What he did on our border can never, ever be forgotten. To me, that's the worst of all the things. And he's done some terrible things. Grossly incompetent. Nobody knew it was him because I don't think it was him. I think it was...
I found the tweets that I wanted to show you. All right, so this is the guy that won the Democratic primaries in New York. All right, nearly 3,000 New Yorkers died, not killed, died on 9/11. 19 years later, the death hasn't stopped. All right, nearly 3,000 New Yorkers died on 9/11. 20 years later, the death hasn't stopped. 3,000 New Yorkers died on 9/11. 21 years later, the death hasn't stopped. You get what I'm saying? All right, we're on the same page. Are we all on the same page? This is literally his entire bullshit. It's entire bullshit. He's trying to tear down Christopher Columbus statues. He's like, in 2017, New York City ordered a review of public works constituting symbols of hate, but a statue of Columbus remains? Dog, you hate America. You hate everything America stands for. Why on earth are you doing this? But it's even worse, all right? I saved all these from earlier. Look at this tweet. Important at Greenwald on whether the London killing of a British soldier was terrorism. But look at this shit. The London killing of a British soldier. Terrorism? The question is because Remember back in 2013 when 2 Islamist terrorists used a meat cleaver to try and behead British soldier Lee Rigby in the streets of London? Zoran shared a 2013 article questioning whether it was terrorism because Rigby was a soldier in London. Okay, I have more. This is his new tax plan. Look how insane this is. Shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. He wants skill-based matchmaking, bro. He wants to tax the white neighborhoods more than the black neighborhoods. He wants extra taxes for white neighborhoods only, okay? Look at what he said about prisons.
We've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So
yes, violent crime is burglaries are violent crimes.
Violence is an artificial construction.
Violence is an artificial construction? Bro wants to empty the jails because violence is an artificial construction.
To be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence.
Yeah, but arresting criminals that are Democrats is violent. Yeah, so this guy is, unironically, currently, as it stands, this guy is the Democratic selection for the New York mayoral election. Yeah, it's bad! If you live in New York, you better vote for the other guy.
Whoever was controlling the auto pen. But our country is doing great. And those leaders and other leaders, I just left, as you know, a large group of the most highly respected people. And that includes big countries.
The most highly respected countries, and France.
You look at Germany and France and Spain, although Spain didn't come through, but they will. By the way, guaranteed they will. That was the only country that sort of tried to hold back on putting up the money. But just so you know, they said...
They didn't put up the money. They didn't put up the money, but they will now. They'll put up the money now. It'll be beautiful.
It's unbelievable what's happened to the USA. You were a dead country. We didn't respect the country, the leader. You were dead as a doornail. One said to me, you went from being a dead country, you are right now the hottest country in the whole world is talking about the USA, and everybody wants a part of it, and they're pouring into our country, and you're going to see those numbers. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question about trade. Secretary Bessent has said that tariff deals with major partners will be done by Labor Day. So if some deals are not done by your July 9th deadline, will some countries' tariffs go back up, or will they stay where they are?
There are some countries that are used to ripping us off, to be honest with you. I don't want to name them, but you sort of can name them. And they're so used to just, taking it billions and billions of, look, we had a trade deficit of more than $1 trillion. Think of a trade deficit. That's because nobody cared. We cared a lot. When, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff. We had the greatest economy in history up until now. I think we're going to blow it away. But during my time, and especially prior to COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to blow it away now based on the kind of numbers that was. But some countries are very angry because they've been ripping us off for years. They've been making billions and billions of dollars. There was nobody to negotiate with. They could do whatever they want. They charged us tariffs, by the way, at numbers that we've never seen before. And we ended up losing much more than $1 trillion a year. $1 trillion a year on trade. And now they're being met with a force that's far greater than them, and they don't like it. So they're upset because instead of making, $5 billion, they're going to break even. Or they'll make a little bit. I want to be nice. They'll make a little bit.
Bro, not the sympathy trade. No.
It's a big difference. Yeah, please go. Go ahead. Red dress.
On the 2020 election, is there any more information on the special prosecutor? So many Americans still have questions about the 2020 election. And speaking of rogue judges, would you consider appointing somebody at DOJ maybe to investigate the judges that allowed for the political persecution of you, your family, and your supporters during the Biden administration?
I love you. Who are you? Well,
dude, it's so crazy. I have never seen the media actually glaze him. I have never actually seen. You don't understand. The media has been so used to shitting on him for 10 years. It's such a shock. Every single time he sees someone saying something even remotely nice about him, he's in absolute shock. But I think people are turning around. I think people are realizing, wait a second, he's actually kind of cooking.
Well, that's just a very nice question.
Will you be my fourth wife, please? I won't even tell Melania.
And it's not a setup. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate that question. All I can say is we're not here for that. I hope so. I hope they're doing a thing because that election was rigged and stolen, and we can't allow that to happen.
I mean, listen, China basically was just exposed for actually making fake driver's licenses that voted in the 2020 election. I don't know if that changed the outcome, but I'll be real. Trump might have been the first president in a long time to win 3 in a row. That's crazy.
You know, a lot of people tell me, sir, you just won the greatest election in the history of our country. You won it numbered.
Okay, no one's saying that. No one is saying. Oh my God, dude. No one is saying that, bro.
That won all 7 swing states.
All the swing states, majority vote. And map is red for Republican.
Won the popular vote, won everything.
Popular vote.
Sir, go on with your life. And many people that say that, good people, friends of mine, then you have people that say that same thing, go on with your life, but you have to find out what happened because you can't let that happen again. Look at what this lunatic did. Look at what he did. He opened our borders to people that were murderers. 11,888 to be exact, murderers. And we've captured many of those murderers and we're bringing them back, or some of them are so dangerous that we don't even want to bring them back. We're afraid they're going to try and come back in. But he allowed people to come into this country, people from mental institutions, insane asylums. That's a mental institution on steroids. People.
You ever watch Batman Arkham Asylum? That's not even nearly as bad as with people coming into Arkham.
From mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers,
murderers,
people, jails being emptied out into Venezuela, emptied out almost its entire prison population into our country. But I don't want to blame them. Many countries have done that. The Congo, we have a great press conference coming up later.
Bro, that's crazy.
It's the Congo.
A lot of people like talking about specific wars that they are able to virtue signal about, but millions of people died in the Congo. Millions of people.
And Rwanda. They were fighting for years, and it was machetes, it was vicious, it was as vicious people.
They're not cool like us with giant drones and ancient alien technology. You see, when we do warfare, we absolutely cook. When they do warfare, it's ugly warfare.
Those heads being chopped off. And I have a man who's very good in that part of the world, very smart, and put them together, and we're signing a peace treaty today. First time in many years they're going to have peace, and it's a big deal. We talk about Russia, and we're working that one. President Putin called up, and he said, I'd love to help you with Iran. I said, do me a favor. I'll handle Iran. Help me with Russia. We got to get that one settled. And I think something's going to happen there. But we did some great work. India and Pakistan. That was going to be maybe nuclear. We did that. We did a lot of work. I don't know if there's ever been a president that's done much more. Serbia, Kosovo was going to go at it. Going to be a big war. I said, you go at it. There's no trade with the United States. They said, well, maybe we won't go at it. That's what happened with India and Pakistan. I was negotiating with both of them, and I said to Scott, I said to Howard, cancel.
I said, listen, India versus Pakistan, that's a little too close to home. We don't want a war between Canada and England either. And you're basically the same population, the same ethnic makeup. I feel like this could go bad.
All deals with India and Pakistan. They're not trading with us because they're in a war. They call back, what do we do? I said, look, you want to have trade with the United States. It's great. But you want to go and start using nuclear weapons on each other? We're not going to allow that. And they both agreed. Both have great leaders. They both agreed not to do it. So we did a lot. But I appreciate that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Orange.
President. Thank you, Mr. President. I was just speaking with Senator Ron Johnson on the One Big Beautiful Bill, and he says he really wants to get to yes for you and get this accomplished.
He does. He's a good man.
But he also said that he needs more time, and he is not certain that the July 4th deadline is possible.
Well, then he's not such a good man. He's a good man. Ron Johnson's doing a good job. He's very committed. Every Republican senator is committed. And, you could have a couple of grandstanders, in all fairness. You could have somebody else, and it's very dangerous because...
Dude, he's a good man. He might need a little more time. Fuck that guy.
Because our country would go from being the most successful country in the world to who knows what happens with a 68%, think of it, 68% tax increase. That was given by the Democrats because they like high taxes. I don't know what happened. All my life...
Yeah, because they're not the party of the people anymore. They used to run as the party of the people, saying that they cared about taxes and economy and shit so that the poor people and the working class could actually get a better life. That's what they used to run on. And then they realized, wait a second, we could just poison people's mind with fake social programs, and then we could just fight on behalf of the fake social programs that we propped up just to work people up enough to get them to vote for us. And we don't even need to worry about that because we're all millionaires and billionaires. Dude, the Democrats get so much more money than the Republicans. It's not even close. All of the richest cities in the world are donating to Democrats. Literally not even close. Like, so not close, it's horrifying. It's horrifyingly not close. These people are making a fuck ton of money. They're the filthy rich 1% to absolute tippy top, so they decide to poison people's minds with saying that, oh my god, you know, if Trump wins, there's gonna be a transgender holocaust. Yeah, trans genocide is gonna happen. And they worry you, and they make fearmonger, and they make you care about points like that, so that they can campaign on things that won't hurt their pockets. And yes, they are not the party for the people anymore. They're retards.
I'd grow up and I'd watch politicians talking. I'd say, oh, that's fun. And they were,
oh, we're fighting for the people. We're not all multimillionaires. Except they are. Bernie Sanders was complaining about millionaires until he became a millionaire. And now he's complaining about billionaires. Like, they're all such grifters. It's crazy.
We're saying, we will cut your taxes. We will cut your taxes.
They don't even say it anymore. Kamala didn't even say it. They don't even say cut your taxes. They say we'll raise your taxes. They say it. They like socialism now. Socialism is higher taxes. Wake up and smell the coffee, motherfucker. All right? Dog, for real, for real.
I heard it. They say we will raise your taxes.
They literally say it.
And they elect people like this guy in New York that maybe has a chance. I find it hard to believe, but he...
Oh my god, dude, it's crazy. Yeah, so, yeah, I showed you some shit about that guy in New York. He wants to raise taxes more in whiter neighborhoods.
Maybe has a chance. They want to raise your taxes, so they want to see a 68% tax increase. That's more money than anybody could afford. You'd go into a depression if that ever happened. So I think there's a lot of pressure to get that approved.
Is the July 4th deadline to you? If
it's important. It's not the end all. It can go longer, but we'd like to get it done by that time, if possible. And look, we have a lot of very committed people, and they feel very strongly about a subjects that you're not even thinking about that are important to Republicans. The problem we have is that it's a great bill. It's a popular bill, but we'll get no Democrats only because they don't want to vote for Trump. If that bill was their bill, they would be so happy. It's so great for our military. It's great for everything. And they would normally vote, but because their hatred of Trump, they have Trump derangement syndrome at level.
I believe that he's using that term.
Before. And instead of voting for a tax cut, they're voting for a tax increase of 68%. They're voting to destroy Social Security, destroy Medicare, and destroy Medicaid. And we're voting to make them perfect and to make them better, make them stronger and better. They're going to destroy Medicaid and they're going to destroy Medicare, and Social Security will follow. If you vote for the Democrats, you're dead on those three things.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a related subject, many Democrats have said that they are not going to support crypto bills in Congress only because of you and your family's personal crypto ventures. And these votes are in some cases needed to pass. Are you open to the idea of pulling away from your personal crypto ventures just for the next few years if that helps get these crypto bills passed in the next few months?
Well, it's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent, and I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces, and I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar, and it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have I have kids, and they invest in different things. They do believe in it, but I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And you know, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
Sir, Mr. President.
With the glasses, gentlemen, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, are you going to cut funds in the sanctuary states, like, for instance, California? They keep supporting illegal immigration, and then these people work under
Yeah, we're
the
giving them a
table.
hard time.
And also, for
Bro, they should get more than a hard time. You gotta arrest the terrorists.
They don't have a governor in California. They have a man that wants to give away everything to people that nobody's seen before. If we didn't go into Los Angeles with the military, which did a fantastic job, but if we didn't go into Los Angeles bringing in the National Guard, I would have brought the military if it was necessary, because you have to. We have the right to. That was another thing upheld by the Supreme Court. But if we didn't go in with the National Guard and be strong and tough, you wouldn't maybe have Los Angeles. It would be like the rest of California, the rest of Los Angeles. They lost 25,000 houses in a fire. They should have lost none. You know, I sent the water down. I had to break into their water supply because they just refused to do it. They're crazy. There's something wrong with them. They have plenty of water. They don't have.
They have more genders than they have working fire hydrants. I don't know what's going on.
Routes or anything. They have. We let it come down from
genders.
the Pacific Northwest. They routed all the water out into the Pacific Ocean for environmental reasons. Okay, and now you have 25,000 houses, none of which would have burned down if you had the water.
No wars would have happened if I was president. No fires would have happened if I was president. He's not even wrong.
They didn't have water. They didn't have water for the fire pumps. They didn't have water in the sprinkler systems that people put in. So the answer is we're going to work with governors. We're going to work with radical left Democrats and Democrats, and we're going to make it good for everybody. We'll have to stop the crime in those. In the case of the cities, I think I can say just about all cities with heavy crime are run by Democrats. Go ahead. Yeah, with the glasses.
I'm with you, Ron.
Go ahead. Yes. Yeah. Go. No. The man behind you. Yeah, please.
President Trump from Lebanon. I want to ask you regarding the threats posed by Iran's allies and proxies operating in the U.S. They were threatening your life. So what do you say about that? And regarding the
Bro, I love how even the people in Lebanon, like this is someone from Lebanon that's talking about this. People in Lebanon, they fucking hate Iran also, man. They do. Hezbollah was terrorizing Lebanon, and they were an Iranian proxy. So yeah.
Lebanon, because Hezbollah is as well part of Iran's allies. Any time frame in Lebanon regarding disarming Hezbollah in Lebanon?
Yeah, Lebanon is a great place with brilliant people. You know, it was known for the professors and doctors and had an incredible history. And hopefully we can bring it back again. I just
it used to be a majority Christian country, and now it's
appointed a friend of mine who's Lebanese, and I didn't know he was Lebanese. I've known him for 20 years. Very, very successful man, and I just appointed him. And I said, why would you want that? He said, because I was born there, I was raised there, I love it. I love it so much. I said, you know, it's very dangerous going to Lebanon as ambassador. And he said, that's what they say, but I don't care about danger. I mean, this is a guy that is just a very big business guy. He wants to give up his whole life to go to Lebanon because he believes in it so much. We're with Lebanon all the way. We'll try and straighten it out.
Your life as well. So what action?
Threaten my life? Yeah, they have threatened. I get that.
Well, they tried to assassinate him twice.
Throbbing feeling every once in a while. Get that throbbing feeling, but you know what? That's okay. This is a dangerous business. What I do is a dangerous business. You know, I tell the story of the car companies and different people and different professions you have. Race car drivers, as an example, 1/10 of 1% die. Bull riders, 1/10 of 1%. That's not a lot, but it's people die. When you're president, it's about 5%. If somebody would have told me that, maybe I wouldn't have run.
Damn.
Okay? This is a very dangerous profession. Yeah. By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going?
Someone in my chat just told me it's not true. Lebanon is still a majority Christian. I just looked it up for you guys, just in case you're curious. No, 100 years ago, Lebanon was 53% Christian. Right now, or 2024, it was 32% Christian. So no, you are wrong. I was right. It used to be majority Christian, and not anymore. And if you want to know what happened, there was some immigration. All right. Large numbers due to economic hardship and political instability and the Lebanese civil war. All right. Yeah. That'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. Demographic shifts. You know, yeah, that'll do it. Essentially, over the last 50 years, the only place that increased its Christian population over the last 50 years was Israel. It's the only country in the Middle East that increased the number of Christians. The population actually increased. Every other country had decreased. Checking Trump's statement, 17.8% of U.S. presidents died in office. Yeah, but he said assassinated. He didn't say died in office.
Yes.
This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead.
On Iran.
You tell me when it gets boring.
Bro, this dude knows good television.
If Iran...
Are you from Iran?
No, I'm not from Iran. I'm from the UK. But if...
the UK? Iran too. No one said anything. No.
If the intelligence reports conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question.
Yeah!
It has to be unbelievable. But, our incredible flyers and our...
By the way, fun fact about Iran. Iran arrested 700 Jews in Iran for alleged ties to Israel over the last couple of days. There is no evidence that any of them have any ties to Israel. They just arrested 700 Jews and they executed 6 Jews over the last few days, apparently, which is fucking horrible. But speaking of Iran too, let me see if I can find this, because this was fucking crazy. Where is that? There was recently a song that was played in, I think, England. I can't find it. This was literally super viral. Oh yeah, here it is. This was played on BBC to millions.
Death to the IDF! Death to the IDF! Death to the IDF!
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's actually fucking insane. So yeah, Englandostan is going crazy these days. By the way, in case you're aware, if you, the IDF is the Israeli Defense Force. In case you are unaware, in England, if you post a meme about Muslims, you will go to jail. But apparently if you host a concert screaming death to the IDF, apparently no punishment. The UK is pretty cooked.
I call them the shots. These guys are unbelievable. Think, from 52,000 feet, they hit the equivalent of a refrigerator door. They actually hit it right in the center, so it's much smaller than that. And just bomb after bomb going deeper, blowing up. Incredible thing. I don't know if you heard the general. He was very impressive. Raisin Cane. He's the one that beat ISIS for me. And he did a matter of weeks.
For me.
And I was told it was going to take 4 or 5 years. And when I got this job, I always said, if I get this job, I'm going to put that guy as the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And Dan Kane, and he, when I heard his name was Raisin, his nickname is Raisin Cane. I said, you got to be kidding. So I liked him right from the beginning, but he knocked out ISIS in a time that nobody ever thought possible. And when this attack was completed and so successful, I said, now I know how you knocked out ISIS so quickly. But we have the best people, we have the best equipment in the world. I rebuilt the military during my 4 years, during my other term. We have the best equipment in the world. The problem is we gave away, a lot of it, but small relatively speaking. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan. Shouldn't have happened. That just shows how incompetent they were. They gave all that equipment away, billions and billions of dollars worth. Shouldn't have happened, but that was small compared to what we have. Now we have a great military with great people. Okay, please.
Mr. President, congratulations. A couple of very different questions. One is Rwanda, 1994. As you grew up in New York, we all knew how those attacks were. Congratulations on that treaty. There are talks that perhaps...
That's going to take place today at 3 o'clock in the Oval Office. We're going to have a signing with Rwanda and the Congo. So I'm a little out of my league in that one because I didn't know too much about it. I knew one thing. They were going at it for many years.
Machetes.
And with machetes. It is one of the worst wars that anyone's ever seen. And I just happened to have somebody that was able to get it settled. I mean, just a brilliant person who is very comfortable in that part of the world. It's a very dangerous part of the world. I said, are you uncomfortable there? People are being killed. School children are being raided and killed. And I don't even want to say how, but as viciously as I've ever heard. Are you uncomfortable? No, that's the part of the world that I know. Very comfortable. Was able to get them together and sell it. And not only that, we're getting for the United States a lot of the mineral rights from the Congo as part of it. They're so honored to be here. They never thought they'd be coming to. Look, this is a very tough part of the world. They never thought, they were just telling me, they never thought they'd ever be coming to the White House, and they're so honored. And so we're going to give them a great big reception, but that's after many years of fighting.
By the way, that just goes to show that Trump actually does care about human life. The fact that the previous administration wouldn't even give them the time of day means it was all about the grift. No one actually even cared that millions of people were dying. It's actually insane.
Great thing. That's at 3 o'clock, I believe.
There was not a single Congo protest in all of America because obviously all the protests are performative. No one actually cares about the causes that they're protesting for. But there was not a single Congo protest. Not one. There was no pressure on the government to do anything, and they just let them murder each other with machetes, brutal sticks and stones, baby. And Trump is actually doing this. Not because anyone told him to, not because anyone forced him to, because he saw people dying. He's like, that's fucked up. We're stopping that shit immediately. That's crazy.
Sir, are you concerned at all about secret nuclear sites in Iran? You talked about maybe just
secret nuclear sites?
Yes, there might be some.
I'm not worried about that.
Not really.
You know why I'm not worried about that? I'll explain to you why I'm not worried about that. All of the top Iran generals that weren't killed by Israel were actually just Israeli Mossad assets in the country. So, in my opinion, we know. And by we, I mean, you know, the government knows. All right, so I don't think there are any secret sites. You don't understand. One of the reasons why Israel was so effective at taking out their top guys is because one of the top generals in Iran set up a secret meeting. So all the generals got together for a secret meeting, and they just bombed the shit out of the secret meeting. Okay, I'll just be real. I'll be honest. If they were infiltrated that badly, I don't think that there's secret nuclear sites that no one knows about.
Can I tell you, they're exhausted. And Israel's exhausted too. And I dealt with both of them. And they both wanted it settled. Both of them. And we did a great job, but they're exhausted.
Yeah.
The last thing they're thinking about right now is nuclear. You know what they're thinking of? They're thinking about tomorrow, trying to
not get overthrown by the people.
It's such a mess. It's such a mess. The place was bombed to hell. And no, I'm not worried about it at all. And I'm putting out a little statement. I'm going to respond to the Ayatollah's statement yesterday that we won the war.
I was laughing at that guy so much. The Ayatollah in Iran claimed that he won.
We won the war. And I said, look, you're a man of great faith, a man who's highly respected in his country.
No, he's not. No, he's not. His people hate him. He's just trying so hard. Oh, my God.
You have to tell the truth. You got beat to hell. And Israel was beat up, too. They were both beat up. And it was a great time to end it. It was quick.
From my perspective, Israel really wasn't that beat up. No, that's crazy. I think Israel didn't want to continue. The goal was just wiping out the nuclear sites and the ballistic missiles. That was literally the entire goal. But yeah, no, they got humiliated.
They got the hate out. There was a lot of hate. A lot of hate. It would be great if they didn't have that hate. But the last thing they're thinking about is nuclear weapons right now. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Iris Tao with NTD Research Media with the Epoch Times. Thank you so much for doing this. It's very refreshing for all of us here.
It's a good group.
In this room.
It's refreshing.
Very refreshing. Yes, we have to have this. And,
I understand what you mean.
Thank you so much for coming out here.
Other than Caroline's done a great job.
Yes.
You're referring to the past administration, not to Caroline. Right?
Yes. Back to the ruling today, if you don't mind. So you have always talked about winning for the American people.
Right.
How do you think today's ruling will enable you to further deliver for American families and workers across the country, not only when it comes to immigration, but also when it comes to trade, energy? What actions are most important?
Well, I think
now?
taking power away from these absolutely crazy radical left judges is a tremendous. This is such a big day.
Massive.
This is such a big day.
We take
it's
those.
like,
Absolutely.
It's sort of sad because we're doing the signing at 3 o'clock, and this may very well dominate the signing of a big war that was going on and really affecting the continent of. Think of it, the entire continent of Africa was being affected. And we're settling that war today, and this will probably be a headline. But this is a very big moment, and it gives power back to people that should have it, including Congress, including the presidency. And it only takes bad power away from judges. It really doesn't take power. It takes bad power, sick power, and unfair power. And it's really going to be, this is a very monumental decision. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much. On July 9th, is that July 9th date set for tariffs to snap back? Or could there be a...
We can do whatever we want. We could extend it. We could make it shorter.
That's the beauty of having the cards.
I'd like to make it shorter. I'd like to just send letters out to everybody. Congratulations, you're paying 25%. He doesn't want. He's a much nicer person than I am. So, did you finish it up?
Endless content. Oh my lord.
Considering for the Federal Reserve then, and are you speeding up that process? I see Secretary.
Oh, he's terrible. He's terrible. I mean, I have a list of things. We're like 38 on the list. We pay, Cameroon and different places are paying the same as us. Because, you have somebody sets a rate at 4% or 4.5%. It's hard to go out and say we should be paying 1% when you have your so-called experts doing that. And the sad part is, as per the question that you asked about tariffs, we've had the tariffs and we have less inflation than we had before. What we have is a hell of a lot more money, a hell of a lot more income, and we shouldn't be paying a rate like that. In other words, when we pay a rate, I'll tell you, each point is the equivalent of $300 billion. So if we had it down 3 points, because I think we should be at 1, you have Switzerland is at 0.25. In other words, 25% of 1%. And they're the number 1 right now. but we should be the number one. And soon you're going to have, I think, you're going to have where the people will pay will pay, like we had a few years ago, where you put up money, you loan money, and I mean, you actually, instead of paying, you get paid. I love that. I don't know if it's any good, but I love it, where you put up money and you get paid. But we should be in a category, so we should be at the top of the list, not toward the bottom of the list. But we have a man who's not a smart man, and he probably has Trump derangement syndrome. And
crazy.
He's just not
you
a
know,
smart
like every time he says it, it's like, that's cringe. And then you realize he's probably right.
person. What he's doing, though, he's hurting us for years to come. Because if we borrow money at 2 points higher than we should be paying, that's $600 billion. Wouldn't you say those numbers are about right, Scott? So it's 2 points would be about 600, actually more than that, but about $600 billion. All because the guy doesn't want to lower the rates. He's doing the service, a very disservice. And then he goes up and talks about, I'd like to see costs come down. You know, he gets up and he does his little thing for 5 minutes, then he goes out and he goes back to the beach. He goes, I'd like to see costs come down. Well, he could lower the interest cost by $900 billion a year. Has to do is lower rates. And everybody's saying, I was watching some of the business shows today, and they're saying, you know, Trump's right. He should really be cutting. The country's doing well. We have no inflation.
Dude,
now,
when you think about it for like 2 seconds, he's completely right about financial policy. He literally is.
Despite him, we're doing great. But if we got the rates down, we would be a rocket ship. So I think that'll be it. And I just want to thank everybody. This is a really big day. We've had a big week. You know, we've had a big week. A lot of victories this week. NATO was a tremendous victory. The war was a tremendous. Look, we were talking about this for 30 years about Iran being nuclear. And all I said is it will not be nuclear, and it's not going to be nuclear. And then I want to give credit to a lot of people, most importantly to our great military. Boy,
I would like to thank a lot of great people, mostly myself. I did a fantastic job.
Put out that fire.
Damn, I was
Once
cooking.
that happened, once those bombs got dropped, that war was over. That war was over. But I just want to compliment them. Incredible. The general and his general.
Especially thank myself.
Pete Hegseth was great.
Pete Hegseth.
Now, Pam,
he was right.
A lot of genius went
Always
into this.
true.
You know, people, if you don't say it exactly right, if the Supreme Court doesn't get it because it's incorrectly spoken about, and that happens.
I would like to congratulate myself on the Supreme Court W.
Lost because they don't say the right words, but I want to correct. She's going to go down.
I would like to especially thank all the reaction streamers for either glazing me or crying whenever I move. Special thanks to the retards that think that somehow this is a bad thing. Shout out to this guy. Shout out to that dude. Shout out to this motherfucker. Yes, Cenk Younger really understands policy so well. So well, especially the time when he said having sex with animals is a good thing.
He was a great attorney general. I may change my mind about that. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll say I was only kidding. She's going to go down as a great attorney general. This was a tremendous win, and we've had tremendous wins, but this was a tremendous win today. So I just want to congratulate you and Todd and your whole staff.
I would like to apologize. Remember when I said you're going to get tired of winning? Well, I'm still not tired. And we're going to keep winning.
People, and we can't forget John Sauer.
That's right.
Who is with, there's a medical emergency within his family, so he's taking care of that.
Oh,
and
damn.
We said absolutely. So I just want to thank everybody very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. President. Yeah, so honestly, I really am glad. I'm glad. I think that these are all huge W's in general. It's kind of crazy that he keeps kind of winning. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why the previous government seemed to not actually want a successful country, but it kind of seems like Trump actually does, which is crazy. Definitely subscribe for future content. As you know, only premium slop on the Nuxanor channel. I will cover the shit that happens. I will make fun of the retards. There are a lot of retards, so there's a lot of content. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking about lots of crazy shit too, by the way. So definitely stay tuned. I have already a plan. It's exciting. Stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.